Thanks again for coming. Thanks, Ryan. So sweet. We're going to get started right away, and I just want to thank you again all for coming. We'll talk a little bit more about who all is in the room and what we have going on. But before we begin, at the end of 2021, we bid farewell to a former board member, one of Pleasant Home Foundation's most tireless advocates, and a widely admired and respected expert among the historic preservation communities, Kathy Cummings. Kathy was instrumental in the founding of our organization and a tireless advocate for historic preservation and architecture appreciation. In addition to authoring the nomination for Pleasant Home's National Historic Landmark status, Kathy wrote the book about Pleasant Home. Its architect, George Mayer, and the Farson and Mills families who resided here. Her research has been used to create the guidebook and tours still presented today. At the time of her passing, Kathy was conducting research for a book about Pleasant Home architect George Mayer. Her passion for preservation extended to artifacts related to Pleasant Home. She founded the Collections Committee and served as the primary correspondent with remaining members of the Mills family to secure many of the Mills novelty machines on display in the house today. Her contributions to Pleasant Home Foundation and the entire preservation community are immeasurable. I'd like to just take a moment of silence in remembrance of Kathy and all those we've lost during the past 2 years. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, moving on. Boy, I get to hand it right over to you guys. You get to pick up the room board. Get ready, put on your smiley faces. I'm gonna just take a moment, recognize our board. Rayanne Spencer, the president of the board you met earlier. Ron Weslow's not here, he's our vice president. Jim Edgeberg, he's our treasurer, he's not here with us. Tina Norton's our secretary, thank you so much, Tina. Heather Cronin-Conaway's here today. John Dorch is not here, but always with us in spirit. Steve Kelly. Jim Cattell is here tonight. Hi, Jim. Jim Oles couldn't be with us tonight, but we do have Mary Summerfield is here. Hi, Mary. And then I believe we're going to be hearing from Jake Worleyhood. He's probably going to be stopping by. He is our Park District of Oak Park liaison. So that is the team, the board that has done so much for the Pleasant Home, and we'll talk a little bit about that in a second. But I'd also like to take a moment to recognize and thank our lead volunteer and docent extraordinaire, Teresa Sarna. Also a champion and advocate for Pleasant Home and Pleasant Home Foundation. Your tenacity for research and information to your genuine excitement for the subject matter at hand. You've become a fixture of the Pleasant Home experience, and for that we're very grateful. Thank you so much, Teresa. I've had people that if I'm here or someone else is here and you're not here, they're definitely disappointed. All right, so we'll talk a little bit about the pandemic, of course, and what that meant for Pleasant Home, the new executive leadership, which is going to be fun to get to talk about ourselves, our accomplishments since August of 2021, and kind of a look ahead at the projects, plans, and initiatives for this year and beyond. All right, so the pandemic. Before that, most of our activities, as you know, were in person. Our income generating activities were largely based on events, tours, and other in-person activities, like many other organizations and businesses. So that severely impacted our ability to generate income. But the board I hate to use this word, they pivoted, but led by Rayanne, kind of focused on what was most important, reducing overhead and really focusing dollars on what was important through the pandemic, like grant writing and board recruitment. And as a result, she was able to keep funding and the house going through times when we really had no other sources of income. Once we were able to safely reopen, the team put together a thoughtful schedule of safe events to welcome the public back to Pleasant Home. I think a lot of the first things we were doing were outside and just making sure that we were doing things where we all felt safe and people felt welcome to come back. And then, this is the weird part where like, hey, that's us, that's Kevin and I. We were brought in by the board. We started officially in August 2021. I'm Sarah, that's Kevin. We're a husband and wife team with marketing and nonprofit leadership experience. And we also have marketing, grant writing, photography, and videography. So we're kind of able to bring a lot of that in-house and do a lot of that production work ourselves. We also have a love of historic architecture and genealogy. We live in a George Mayer designed home in Blue Island that we're restoring. So this was a very natural fit for us. Hi, Jake. Don't worry, not formal. Come on in. And as I mentioned earlier, that's Jake Worleyhood. He's our Park District of Oak Park liaison for the board. We were talking about you.
Only in a good way.
I'm sure it's all bad. You know, we have recording devices all through the building, so
I got this on video too.
All right. So we started to work then with the board on creating a plan really for the rest of the year, and then of course a look ahead at what we could do in 2022. So we brought back a scaled back schedule of events and some new branding. So of course Silent Movies on the Porch returned in kind of a short form. We did 2 weekends of that, or 2 days of that. We had Dressing Mrs. Farson, which was an incredible presentation Heather put together. We had as well, Open House Chicago came back this year, and we had, 632 people come through the house that weekend, so that was fantastic. The Mechanical Music Fair, we welcomed those folks back. We'll be doing that again this year. And we brought back, we created 2 new holiday events, a concert as well as candlelight tours. So not as robust of a mix as maybe as we were hoping to do, but enough to kind of get us back into the groove, get people used to the fact that Pleasant Home was going to be open again, and introduce them again to some of this new programming and branding and ways to experience the house. We also launched an online store where we were selling event tickets online, which is something we hadn't been doing, and we created some new merch, and we launched the pop-up museum shop for events, which has been a wonderful addition back. Ron's not here, but he's one of our board members. He's really taken charge with us. So we have a nice selection of merchandise available almost every event that you'll come to at Pleasant Home, along with some things that are branded Pleasant Home. If you like to have them, they'd love to go to your home. We have reusable totes and gigantic mugs that almost can be soup bowls with the Pleasant Home logo. Those are $10 each. They're available here at the home every Thursday, or you can contact us via the website and we'll get your order to you. This is some of the new branding that we created for Pleasant Home. So every event, whether it's a printed piece or an online piece, social media advertisement, all has similar branding, the fonts, the look, the feel. We really just wanted to bring everything under a nice cohesive umbrella. And Pleasant Home's always had nice branding, but we wanted to make it as consistent as we could, moving forward. So this is something we introduced along with the events. And then for 2022, we created a calendar and used monthly marketing themes that'll help us not only communicate the story of the history of the home, the families who lived here, and the architecture, but also some of the fun things that there are to do here, highlights different areas of the house, and it gives us a platform to not just speak with people who visit us here at Pleasant Home, but who find us online through social media. Again, expand our reach, because what we learned during the pandemic was we're not always guaranteed that we're going to be able to get together with people. So our footprint needs to somehow expand, and that's one of the ways that we've done it. So you may have seen Fireplace February, I like alliteration, we all do, right? Membership March is what we're doing now. Appreciate your members and donors, but here's a little peek if you haven't seen it at some of the other media and collateral we put together to promote Pleasant Home.
It's Fireplace February at Pleasant Home, and today we're exploring the drawing room fireplace. The mantle, mirror, and woodwork are original to the house and feature many of the shapes and designs found throughout the property as part of architect George Mayer's motif rhythm theory. The andirons are also original. This large fireplace was originally faced with Roman brick. The second family to live in the home, the Mills family, installed Egyptian tile, like the tile you'll find on the home's sun porch. Egyptian motifs were popular during that time, likely due to the recent discovery of King Tut's tomb. It's likely that the original Roman brick is still intact underneath. Join us as we celebrate Pleasant Home's cozy fireplaces all February long. We're open for self-guided and docent-led tours every Thursday from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Learn more at pleasanthome.org.
So that's another example of just some of the ways we're trying to take all of the wonderful assets that we have here, the house itself, the knowledge of the architecture, our docents, our volunteers, everyone who's worked with this organization. We've been able to pick brains to get information, and we use all of that to put together this collateral. So it's exciting to be able to continue to come up with new ways to tell some of the same stories, but do them, again, in kind of different, exciting ways. And people, they don't read, they're very visual, and you only get a few seconds of someone's time. So we know that visuals like this and assets like this are going to continue to be important to share the story of Pleasant Home and get support for the projects that are so important to restoring the property. All right, another thing that we've been working hard on, the board was very much interested in having the membership program kind of reinvented and relaunched. There was a lot of work put into it pre-pandemic, and I think probably because of the pandemic it halted, so we were able to kind of bring those to life and introduce new tiers and benefits of membership. Again, we're very happy to have you be a part of that and your support of Pleasant Home, and we'll be continuing to promote that along the way. It's a major initiative for us this year to grow our membership numbers and continue to give folks as many ways as they can or feel comfortable or they might connect with to support Pleasant Home. And so for people that want to feel a part of things and want to kind of have a recurring membership, we have this option. And we also have a lot of other options to give. But we do believe that with a recurring program, that's going to really contribute to the long-term financial health of the organization, to have people that are committed for a longer-term investment. So with all this great stuff we wanted to do, that meant that we need people. A lot of people, and we need more people. So as Rand mentioned, we launched a program to recruit new volunteers, as well as re-engage previous docents, some that had kind of dropped off because of the pandemic. But what we found is there are a lot of folks right around Pleasant Home that are very interested in being a part of this great house. And so as Rand mentioned, we've been kind of running a combine of new volunteers through on Thursdays and starting their training. And it's a really good feeling to kind of build the ranks of folks that we have that we can work with. And we'll be continuing to do that. If you know anyone looking for a great volunteer experience, we have several things. It's not just docents and greeters. We're interested in having people help out with events. You know, simple things that, you know, set up and tear down, but also for things like collections and research. So we'll be putting out calls for those kinds of volunteers too as the year goes on. All right, so this year, as you know, we conducted our annual appeal, and we've also designed our some of our grant writing strategy around some specific initiatives for the house. Some directly related to restoration here, and then other to expanding our reach as a foundation. So the George Washington Mayor Society is going to be in honor of the foundation that we're launching, with a specific focus on his works, the houses that still remain, and the families and the history of those houses as well, kind of an extension of Pleasant Home. So we've been working on putting this together. Is that the next slide, the travels where we've been? And so even in short time, we've been able to put the word out about this plan and already begin to connect with many Mare homeowners who want to be a part of this, who think that there's room for this. And again, it kind of opens up our reach even beyond Oak Park and makes us a little more of a national player on the architecture scene. And we think it really helps round out the whole architecture scene in Oak Park too, putting us again in more of a significant place with an architect who worked right alongside Wright, but just hasn't quite had the same sort of recognition and popularity. So you can see some of the houses that we've visited and photographed and interviewed. The Coffeen House, which is actually Jim Oles and Sharon Starkson's home, they're on our board. The Frank and Diana Thomason house is in Beverly, right up the road from us. Our house is in the bottom middle there, the Henry and Emma Klein house. Obviously that was an easy interview to get. Tuskegee, Illinois, where's that? A few hours away. There's a Mare remodel of a home that was originally built in 1848. So this was an interesting remodel by a Mare, and it's going to be a bed and breakfast. So we photographed that. And then later this month, our kids are super excited. We're taking them to Wisconsin for spring break. Woo! Wausau, Wisconsin is a hotbed, a collection of Mare homes. From what we can tell, actually, I read a nice thesis. Thank you very much. Teresa was sharing with me. And the mayor got one commission up that way. And it was a pretty tight-knit community of people with money, lumber guys. And so when he got one commission, and then that sort of just started the chain reaction of homes that I think around 4 or 5 are still existing. So we're gonna go up and visit, and then the bed and breakfast that we're staying in is a mayor design home. And the owner of that is very excited about this whole endeavor. He sees, obviously, architectural tourism as being something that's growing, and we do too. And we feel like we can really partner together with his support, and just with some of that knowledge, expertise, those connections, and those networks, we can continue to spread the good word about Pleasant Home and raise money to keep doing all the good work that we're doing here.
Do you want to show the website?
Do you guys want to see a sneak peek of the website?
Yeah.
It's not ready yet. So the official launch of the Mayor Society is going to be in May, because it's going to be a mayor May.
Of course it is.
It's not even that. Where is it? So this is the website that Kevin's been working on building. Again, this is just some of our expertise and our background that we brought in. We have a lot of experience building websites, and so Kevin's been working on putting together. Again, this will be a sub-arm of things that'll feature his work. Obviously, what we have going on at Pleasant Home is being the home base for this club. And then him, his life, the society, and then just highlighting the different homes. It's going to be very interactive, and it's a little bit of a preview of how the rebuild of the Pleasant Home website. You can see where the style of website now is to really be as interactive as possible, give people a lot to do on that home page, still build it out for SEO on the back end, but really have a nice, attractive home page that has a lot for folks to do. So what's kind of neat about this too is, do you want to show the map?
I was gonna say, can you show the map? I love that.
I do too. Again, it's all about interactivity, getting people to spend time on your site. So created the beginnings of what will be a reference map for mayor properties by state, and then a national map. So you can see, you can kind of click in and click into those.
There's our house with another mayor house right next to it, so that's why that gets real tight. So each profile, of course, I'm still building out, so there's some placeholder content there, but each profile that we have pictures of will be built out with pictures, and right up on the house, talking about the history, and the current owners, and anything else we might know. And then as we continue to build it out, obviously we're going to keep adding photography and historical pictures as well, but we want to bring video into that too. So some of the houses that we visit, we're going to be doing some interviews and shooting video too, so that'll be in these profiles as well, and featured on the homepage of the website as we build it out too. Can't see it here. Yeah.
Right.
And we'll go by state too, so that'll be our national map, because it does have works throughout the country, but it's broken down by state too. So right now I have Illinois and Indiana to a certain extent represented.
I love it. All right. And then,
All right, we're back in.
all right. So before I get to that, I'll just mention a few other things that we have on the restoration and project side. One blow that we did receive to our grant strategy for the year is the Dree House Foundation is no longer awarding organizations outside of Chicago city limits. So that was $10,000 a year is what we have been getting most recently. So obviously that's a big blow to our budget, but we found some other grant opportunities through Humanities Illinois and some Historic Preservation Illinois that we think we'll be able to fill in. But where this is important is a lot of the grant funds that we'll be working toward will be matching. So it'll be important for us to continue to tell the mission, talk about what we're doing, and get people on board to support those. The lighting in the home, there's many fixtures that we've discovered that are going to be restored and put back where they were intended to be. So Our intent was to show you some of that tonight, but as you know, we're in the middle of the park district's in the middle of the geothermal project here. So the upper floors are a little, they're getting good use right now to get this all installed. So we won't head up that way, but that'll be something for the future for us to look at, as well as the pool table is going to be reassembled and put on the third floor ballroom as part of the tour going forward. And then, as I mentioned, a new website for Pleasant Home Foundation is part of our strategy for this year, as well as the Mayor Foundation. And then, as Ryan alluded to, and I know she's super excited, so we'll get to the fun stuff. We have some really great programming coming up this year that we hope we'll see you at. The return of Tea and Tour comes. This is something probably that hasn't been done since before the pandemic, and we're doing it in grand fashion rather than a small group. We're going to open it up to a large tea. So we'll be sending invitations for that next week. You have the option of touring the home before the event or after the tea. So you'll make your selection, and the tour will be customized for that event. It's going to be a little less about the architecture and more about the social history of the home. So look forward to hosting that event on April 24th. That's a Sunday at 2 o'clock. It'll be a nice high tea. And then in May, during May, we're going to have cocktails at the Klein House. And again, that's our house. And this is going to be one of the things that we'll be doing is hosting some satellite events at other Mayor properties for our donors and funders. So we'll be opening up our home. We'll have nice cocktails, refreshments, and we'll officially launch the Mayor Society that day. That's May 13th in Blue Island. We got to travel, but it'll be worth it, we promise. And then we have Tasting History. This is going to be a fun event on June 23rd here. It's going to be an evening event. And we have a wonderful guest that'll be joining us. Maddie, she is the servant over at Glusner. And she's going to join us for an evening and prepare some food for our guests and talk to us about why she's visiting and how she kind of got over here and her experiences. It's going to be a wonderful night. I hate to break the character, Ellie's a wonderful performer. She has a great attention to detail and a love of food, and it's going to be a very immersive experience with food and culture and history. So that'll be June 23rd, more details to come. I think that wraps up what we have going forward. If they have any questions about anything that we've talked about or anything going forward, we'd love to answer them. And then of course we have popcorn, refreshments, and soda and water. So you're welcome to help yourself and hang out as long as you'd like. But we really appreciate all your support and thank you for coming tonight.
Well,